Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Strand info video. Bungie just released another blog post about what we can expect from the Strand subclasses, but also now tell us about the aspects and debuffs, and one of the buffs we can get while using Strand. So let's get into the info. So first off, on the blog post, they say that they released a trailer showing off the new subclasses, abilities, and effects it can have on enemies if you want to go check it out for yourself. They start off by saying that to understand Strand, let's first start with some vocabulary. Creating an object using Strand is weaving. Defeating an enemy affected by Strand will unravel them, disconnecting their life force from the weave, and creating a tangle. Left behind after a Strand debuffed enemy is defeated, a tangle is a swirling bundle of strand fibers. These bundles of strand explode when shot, causing area damage to nearby enemies. Guardians can also pick up tangles and throw them to deadly effect. As for debuffs that are coming with strand, we have three terms to know: suspend, unravel, and sever. For suspend, a suspended PvE enemy is lifted off the ground for a brief duration and is essentially disabled. In PvP, suspended players are lifted off the ground but can still move, albeit slowly, and fire their weapon to fight back. For Unravel, attacking an unraveled enemy will cause threads to burst out of the target and attack other nearby targets. Once hit, that target will also become unraveled. For Sever, a severed enemy is less capable of affecting the material world, reducing their damage output as a result. The one buff that comes with Strand is Woven Mail. With this ability, the Guardian is sheathed in a protective mesh of strand matter, reducing incoming damage. Note that in PvP, Woven Mail will only reduce damage taken on the body. Head damage and melee damage will continue as normal. Next, they go into the subclasses and start with the Warlocks, who are known as the Broodweaver, and are the cerebral type and are more in tune with Threadlings than other classes. All Threadlings will run forward, jump on enemies, and explode, but only the Warlock's Threadlings will return to the Warlock and travel with them if they can't find a target. Let's say I have 3 Threadlings and I only need 2 of them to defeat an enemy. If I'm a Warlock, the last one is going to run back, hop onto me, and condense down into a form that is orbiting me, which is known as perching. Then, the next time I attack an enemy, it will pop off and attack the same enemy, which really gives it the sense of having these minions that are doing my bidding. Warlocks have a new melee ability with Strand called Arcane Needle, a deadly projectile which tracks targets, causing high damage and unraveling them upon impact. Warlocks will be able to chain 3 Arcane Needle attacks in a row. Warlocks will have 2 strand aspects to utilize, and it's here where Threadlings once again enter play. Weaver's Call on Riftcast. The Warlock weaves 3 Threadling eggs, which hatch into Threadlings when they hit a surface. Any perched Threadlings are converted to additional eggs. Mindspun Invocation. This aspect improves several of the Warlock's abilities. Grapple. When you execute a grapple in melee, the Warlock weaves 3 Threadling eggs from the target. Threadling Grenade. You can consume your Threadling Grenade to generate a full complement of perched Threadlings. Shackle Grenade. You can consume your Shackle Grenade to gain a buff, creating a suspending detonation on every kill. The Warlock's telekinetic abilities culminate with their Super Needle Storm, a deadly combination of burst damage and area denial. On cast, the Warlock conjures strand matter into a fusillade? I think it's fusillade of hardened spikes, launching them forwards with a wave of their hand. The missiles will stick into enemies and the environment alike before detonating and reweaving themselves into an army of Threadlings that will hunt down any survivors. Next, we talk about the Hunter's Threadrunner subclass. The Threadrunner's melee attack, Threaded Spike, has a hunter hurling out a rope dart that bounces between enemies, damaging and severing them before returning to the hunter. Upon its return, it grants melee energy for each enemy hit. Hunters can catch the rope dart by pressing the melee input button at the right time. Perfecting that timing will earn the player an additional amount of melee energy. 2 strand aspects will be available for hunters. Ensnaring Slam. While in the air, press the air move input to slam downward, suspending all nearby enemies. Widow's Silk. This aspect grants an additional grenade charge. The hunter's grapple ability creates a persistent grapple tangle when it latches, which fully refunds grenade energy when grappled to. Hunters can use this ability to set up chains of grapple points that their entire team can use, greatly enhancing their ability to quickly move around in combat and/or traverse the environment. The lethal combination of grapple and rope dart converge with the Thread Runner Super Silk Strike. When activated, the hunter uses their grapple to freely move through the world in third-person view, while also throwing the rope dart to strike down enemies. Hunters will be able to use grapple more often during the super, and the rope dart features both the light and heavy attack. The light attack is meant for single opponents and can be used in air and on the ground. When on the ground, the hunter can chain attack seamlessly. Hitting an enemy with the tip of the dart deals bonus damage, and defeating an enemy with it causes the enemy to explode. The heavy attack has the hunter swing the rope dart around in a 360-degree arc, damaging all nearby enemies. As with the light attack, this can be used on the ground or in the air. Next, we talk about Titan's Berserker subclass. From the start, the fantasy for the strand-wielding Titan Berserker was wild, untamed power. As this subclass's name suggests, the Titan uses strand in ways that ensure maximum carnage, with in-your-face attacks that can sever enemies en masse before they are permanently deleted. The Titan strand melee ability is Frenzied Blade. With the press of a melee button, the Titan dashes forward and slashes at enemies with their strand arm blades, severing victims and decreasing their damage output. With a default set of 3 charges, Titans can chain these slashes together for maximum offensive power. Titans will also be able to utilize a pair of aspects into the fray. Destroying a tangle weaves woven mail onto the Titan and nearby allies. In addition to reducing damage taken, this aspect also increases the Titan's melee energy regeneration while wearing woven mail. Dranger's Lash. When the Titan casts their class ability, the Titan will blast forward a powerful ripple in reality, suspending enemies that are caught in the shockwave's path. The Titan Berserker Super Blade Fury sees the Titan dual-wielding fist blades and roaming the battlefield with ill intent. The Super's light attack is a supercharged version of the Frenzied Blade melee attack, and each light attack that connects increases the next attack speed, which tops out after a maximum of 3 hits. In addition, connecting with light attacks also builds energy for the super's heavy attack with each hit. With the heavy attack, the Titan hurls a pair of projectiles forward that seek out enemies, suspending and damaging them on impact. Elsewhere, Strand will see 3 new grenades, including Grapple, which is controlled with the grenade button. The Threadling grenade splits into 3 projectiles that weave into threadlings upon impact. The Shackle grenade effectively acts as a bola, detonating a suspending blast and setting out smaller secondary bolas to suspend nearby enemies. Finally, it wouldn't be a new elemental power in Destiny 2 without new fragments to explore and customize your strand-wielding guardian. Here's a look at a few of the new fragments. Thread of Ascent. Activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapon and grants increased weapon handling and airborne effectiveness for a short time. Thread of Fury. Damaging targets with a tangle grants melee energy. Thread of Finality. Finishers generate threadlings. Thread of Warding. Picking up an orb of power grants woven mail. So those are all the subclasses and info that they released with Strand coming in Lightfall, and honestly, I think that the least interesting one to me is the Titan Super Berserker subclass. It just seems very samey as other subclasses, but after reading the capabilities that it can do with the aspects and its whole details that were given here, I think it's probably won't be that bad. We probably obviously still have to get our hands on the subclass to see if it's any good. I know I'm probably gonna try the Titan subclass first, because I usually tend to go with the least interesting first in my playthroughs, and then I go on to the fun ones towards like, you know, the end of my playthroughs. So I'll definitely be trying Titan out first, and then after that I think I'm going to do my hunter with the Thread Runner. I think his super is by far the coolest in concept. And then my Warlock is my main, so my Warlock is going to be the last one I complete, just so I can get that boost in, power level from my other characters by transferring gear over and whatnot. I also really like the idea of Warlocks being able to summon a bunch of Threadlings with their super, and they just go and attack enemies in a huge wave. I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all these new subclasses, the abilities. Just let me know if any of them catch your eye, if any one of them stand out more than the others. So yeah, remember to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.